Welcome to another episode of the Vital MX pre-game show, and an episode that I suspect you will find very interesting. We have exclusive information from a couple of top riders, interesting statistics, news from Europe, and so much more. Let's get right into it, shall we? Everyone knows that the 2024 Monster Energy Supercross finale was Adam Cianciarulo's final race as a professional. There is also a chance, although it's unlikely, that it was Dean Wilson's final Supercross race in America. This brings up an interesting point, that being the fact that Adam Cianciarulo and Dean Wilson have had extremely similar careers. Both riders should have been a 250 Supercross champion. There is simply no doubt that they had the capability to achieve that. Look at the table on screen now, and you will see that they are very similar in their Supercross statistics. Cianciarulo edges Dean out in each category, admittedly, but by the slimmest of margins. Again, the overarching theme here is that both riders should have, and would have, had it not been for injury, achieved so much more. The similarities extend much further than this table, of course. Consider the fact that each rider has one 250 MX title each. Each rider has also struggled with injuries from day dot of their 450 career, and both riders lost 250 Supercross titles in cruel fashions. Although Adam Cianciarulo's stung a little more, it's fair to say. There was an outpour of emotion as Cianciarulo wrapped up his professional career, which of course started in 2013 Pro Motocross. He took to social media earlier this week to thank the fans and all involved in making his final day at work special, and it was indeed very special. Elsewhere in the 450 SX field, Justin Cooper posted a career best result, second place, in the main event. And post-race, whilst talking to yours truly, he had some interesting comments on his future.
We're in talks with a lot of teams, and yeah, it's a tough deal with Star. I would love to stay there. The bike's awesome, and we've got a lot of progress going with them, and been with them for 7 years, my whole career, so it would be weird to stay or to leave, and I'm happy here. I really am, and yeah, it really makes it tough with being the third rider, though. I mean, if Eli comes back, it really puts me in a crappy position again. So that's been really it's been really waiting on Eli and what his move is. Cooper's obviously staying for a while, so I would love to stay, but yeah, if everything works out, I think we can make it happen.
Now, Justin Cooper is the third rider on Star Racing's 450 team currently, and it was suspected that he would take the berth that Eli Tomac would vacate at the end of this year. Now, it seems that Eli Tomac will almost certainly race 2025 Supercross, and so it puts Justin Cooper in an awkward spot. There is no doubt that Justin Cooper is a star of the future. Once the current crop move on, I'm talking about riders like Jason Anderson, Justin Barsha, Eli Tomac, Ken Roxon, to name but a few, Cooper will catapult into the position of podium regular and, I'm certain, race winner. So he must be an attractive option for a lot of teams, and he said there, we're in talks with a lot of teams. So it'll be interesting to see if Star make it work, giving him a more permanent position where he maybe feels more valuable, or he moves brands for the first time in his professional career. Elsewhere on Star Racing, Gavin Towers is in a similar position where he doesn't quite know what his future holds. Towers, of course, raced for Star in Supercross Futures this year and did not win a single main event in that class, which is a surprise because all of the reports out of Tallahassee indicated that he was flying at the test track. There is kind of no indication of what his career holds from this day on. Again, talking to yours truly after the race, he explained,
right now, I don't really have a plan. I have a, more or less, I think, for my step, if anything happens with outdoors, it would be if somebody got injured, but for the most part, I know next week I'm going back, or tomorrow I'm going back home to Tallahassee, and then from then on, I'm not really 100% sure. I have a lot of great people in my corner. and I'm not sure. So there's not a lot of news going on right now. So
there is some scuttlebutt about Gavin Towers out there at the moment. It seems that he has a couple of options. One of them even includes a stint in MX2 in the FIM Motocross World Championship. Whilst we're on the subject of interesting post-race comments, allow me to shed some light on what Chase Sexton said after his Salt Lake City win. That was, of course, his second win of the season. Starts have, quite simply, held Chase Sexton back a tremendous amount across the season. There have been so many times lately where he looked fast enough to run with Jet Lawrence, and in certain instances, he appeared to be the fastest rider on track. But again, impossible to make that work when you are starting in the lower half of the top 10. Why did his starts become so much better at the final 2 rounds? Well, he said this.
It took me a while to get used to the KTM. It's different on the start. It feels more like up in my face, and I had to get over the top of it more.
Something that sounds fairly simple, of course, but interesting that he nailed that down and just in time. Points have been reset, we're going into Pro Motocross, and Chase Sexton will be the man tasked with bringing Jet Lawrence down. Of course, Eli Tomac will not be on the starting line at Fox Raceway or at the first couple of rounds, as he underwent surgery on the thumb that he injured in Denver, and Cooper Webb also will miss the start of outdoors, as he too has undergone surgery on his thumb. Speaking in a Yamaha press release, Webb said this. It's disappointing to be missing the beginning of Pro Motocross, but fixing this thumb injury is a must to be at my best for the remainder of the year. The goal is to come back for the final stretch of the outdoor season and come into the SMX playoffs swinging. Over in Europe, MXGP worked through the second round of their current triple header, and Jorge Prado returned to form, proving that the mud race in Águeda, Portugal, was merely an outlier. Prado has now won 5 of the first 6 rounds. The MXGP of Galicia, located in Prado's hometown, the circuit is actually named after him, marked his 11th Grand Prix win on the 450, and of course he retook the red plate. He now holds a 2-point advantage over Tim Geiser. Jeffrey Hurlings continues to struggle with his starts and pace on the opening laps. Romain Fevre just needs a tick more to take down Prado and Geiser, who is also slightly ahead of him. And quite simply, everything is as it was before the Portuguese mudder. This weekend's event in France at St John d'Angely could change that status quo though, because it has been raining all week and there are no signs of that slowing down as the race weekend beckons. In fact, the weather forecast for Saturday and Sunday indicates that there will be torrential rain, thunderstorms and hail. St John is a slick, hard-pack, old-school track, one that just fits all of the stereotypes when you think of a classic European circuit. And so, quite simply, it would be horrible to ride in the torrential rain. That slick base would become so troublesome. The steep hills will obviously prove to be challenging, and if the weather forecast pans out as expected, I kind of expect it to be similar to Faenza in 2009, where riders are stuck halfway up hills, can't really go anywhere, and it's just a bit of a mess. Perfect to shake up the 2024 FIM Motocross World Championship. And FYI, in MX2, Kai de Wolf leads by 44 points, but it was his teammate, Lucas Koenen, who won his first Grand Prix of the season in Galicia. The Koenen brothers still have their sights set on America. There still seems to be a chance that they will come in 2025, although they are contracted for 2026. Finally, just moments after we went live last week, SX Global announced that they have inked a new 10-year contract with the FIM to promote the FIM World Supercross Championship. There is still no schedule. That is expected any time now. In fact, it may have even dropped by the time that you watch this video, but it's expected to be 4 to 5 rounds, include Argentina, Abu Dhabi, Australia, and a couple of other new venues. SX Global have their backs up against the wall, of course, so take all of this news with a pinch of salt. But they are trying, and considering how dire the situation is, can we really ask for much more? Well, that's it. Another Vital MX pre-game show, plenty of information. As mentioned, MXGP continues this weekend in France. There is no American event, but we will be back next week with a bit of a pro motocross preview, maybe a little different feel to the pre-game show as we gear up for 11 rounds of furious outdoor action. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week.